Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey everyone.
What's good, Gotchi gang?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good, man. Just looking at my winnings for the auction.
Nice. Yeah, what'd you end up with?
So I was doing this little experiment, and I'd started with 105 ghost, and that was my winnings from Rarity Farming. So for 2 weeks, I got almost 100 ghosts. So I took that. And I'm like, let's see what we can do with this. Because I wasn't gonna for this town. I'm still kind of rebuilding, reaching my stack for like the coming auctions and whatnot
Yeah, you gotta
coming
do
up
all over
over the
that
next
fiat
couple
mining.
months. Yeah, I gotta go mine some fiat now. So I had 100 ghost that I'd won for my 2 weeks of rarity farming, and I flipped it into 160 ghost almost.
Nice.
At the end of it. So it's like I made like a 60% return almost, which is like really cool.
That's lit. Yeah, same. I got like a 60% return. I was flipping the uh like inner wall ones and then like the Dow square ones like hotcakes off the bat. I got like a bit on one spacious.
Oh, see, that's the right strategy right there. Like I was having some RPC issues at the start, so I kind of missed out on that first wave that you're talking about. So or else I think I might have almost made double, you know. I think I would have made a lot more because like those first early bids that you're talking about, like that's probably where you make like most of your ghosts, right?
Yeah, I mean I got some first bids on some of the inner wall ones. You know those are gonna get outbid. So yeah, in those first few minutes, and I got really lucky because my computer was taking a little because I had to reboot my computer, and it got on, and I was trying to I was with Taproot and two of my other friends that were trying to get in, um, and I literally got in like right when it started, and luckily, and I just had to start bidding. I was like, and then I was like, oh, I got outbid, I got outbid, and it's like. I barely could help them because I was just like, I got a bid. Sorry, guys. But like I was
Yeah,
like
it's every
streaming it
man for
for them
himself.
so that they could like see me do it.
Oh no, that's cool, man. So like what was your strategy like starting out? Were you throwing down like very large bids at the start to hope, you know, you get outbid?
Yeah, basically just throwing down my like
Eh.
whole stack. Like well, first thing I did, you know those like right on the corner, those two reasonables going out to the east side that went for like 1,500 ghost. I got like the first bids on that. I think I split up like so I started with like 377 ghosts, and I think I split my ghost between those two off the bat. I got like the first bids there, and then I was just like looking for what was cheap. Um, so I was flipping a lot of the inner wall humbles. Um, just putting those like 100 bids, 200 ghost bids, and then some uh, like 130 to 200 bids in the Dow Square, and then I ended up fat fingering a 99 on a humble and ended up with that. My goal for this one was I was trying to get as much ghost as possible because I was trying to get an H1, and I ended up getting an H1, so I succeeded. I ended up having to throw in a little bit more money to get the H1, but it worked out.
That's awesome, dude. Like that's that Ethereum one that you have there, right? With
Yeah,
the gold eyes.
OG
Sick.
Gotchi, that's his
Yeah.
name. I got the OG Gotchi.
That's a sick gotcha, man. And that's kind of cool how some people like have these side objectives for these auctions. Like everyone thinks you're gonna make like all this ghost and people are just gonna go buy more land parcels, but it's like I talked to some people that just like went out all out on a bunch of cheap wearables because like there's some paper handing going on right now with that,
Yeah, a lot of people get
with
like
everyone trying to get
yeah,
liquidity.
for sure. I mean, there's so many different ways to play this whole game. And that's the whole fun of it is that everyone has their own little strategy, their own little goals, and yeah, I mean, you can play it however you want. Two of my friends that were getting in, they didn't have a lot to throw in. I think they were only able to get in like 40 yosts or whatever. So they started looking into like the raffle tickets and were like, well, these common tickets are really undervalued. So buying up like some common tickets and that stuff, and is already making some returns there. Trying to go big, maybe get some common wearables in the next raffle, or I think they got like a drop ticket too. Um, doing the go big or go home. So there's a lot of different ways, even for like the little guys, to move up in the game, which I love because if if you're in a game that you're just like super priced out, like um, say like sandbox, like you're priced out of land, like I mean, I don't know, I don't want to talk too much about sandbox. I don't know too much about it, but like some of these games, like you can just get super priced out, like say some of these PFP projects, and then there's just no entry point. Versus like Aavegtochi, there's so many different entry points. You can just get a little bit and just stakes too, like, and then we're gonna have the liquidators and renting. Like, this is how a game scales, which is amazing.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah, and I was gonna say,
Was good.
hey, Master Ian.
How'd the auction go for y'all?
Yeah, we're just discussing our strategy, how I mean we're just talking about the small player in Aavegtochi and how you would think, coming in you see so much money being thrown around on these parcels, like tens of thousands of ghosts, and now it's like you have even smaller players coming in that can come away with something like as long as they're willing to participate.
100. I brought like 5 new people into the game through this auction, and they all grabbed like a humble or reasonable, and kind of like started thinking about like their little home.
Yeah, and it's like there's opportunity for everyone. Like I did this little experiment with the 100 Ghost, and I was able to make 60%. Golden had some friends coming in with 40 Ghost, and it's like you can you can have a lot more velocity with your money when you have such a small amount because you can just keep getting outbid a lot faster than when you have a larger amount of capital, it can be sometimes harder to get such a large return through GBM, even though it's significant. But how did you do
So
through
it
the auction?
was first. It was a lot of fun. I'm really happy about how the second one went down. It seemed a lot smoother than the first, and it was also a lot of fun to like go into it with some experience from the first one. Not completely jumping into the pool for the first time kind of situation. But um, I spent more than I wanted to. Sometimes you just kind of like fall in love with like your strategy. And I also got scalped pretty hard by somebody that kind of figured out what I was trying to do. And they must have made 500 to 700 ghosts and pushed up the prices for me probably 5 to 10,000 ghosts on some things that I was trying to do until I kind of figured out their game that they didn't have as much liquidity as I thought. And I was just bidding back too fast, which is my fault. It was a rookie mistake. But yeah, it was a little stressful at the end for me. I'm not going to lie. I was a little pissed off. Ended up paying a little bit more than I wanted to on some things. But I went for kind of like, hey, I want to try to lock down the biggest rectangle of spacious I can find on a road. And what I was able to do was in District 12, coming out of the south gate from the center, after you get out of the second wall, not the innermost wall, but the second wall, there's like a four-way corner there, and I was able to grab like a 2x8 row of spacious. And I don't really know, like, my theory is that, hey, somebody one day may want big chunks of spacious for whatever reason, and that's not going to be something easy to accomplish later on, because you may have some people just holding out hard and like, hey, no, I don't want to give up my spacious, like, you know, like that guy that like won't move for the highway kind of situation. And so that was my strategy, that and doing like a lot of road stuff. I got a little inner wall, you know, I can't ever stay away from District 1. And then I had some really great stuff going on at the Dow Circle and the Pixelcraft Circle, but with all the commotion at the end and Hammer Time, I just lost track of all that stuff, you know, kind of speaking to how it is a pain in the butt to deploy like large sums. I think having like a team like Dr. Wagme did probably helps a lot, but, you know, I was solo manning it. So it was very interesting to say the least.
It seems like there was like a lot of guilds and groups coordinating before the auction, but then it was almost like once people were in the auction, it was kind of like everyone for themselves for a little bit. Um, and that happens with these auctions because like you get caught up in the end part of it too, where everything just starts getting bid up. And like I personally had made up my mind in the last auction. I'd like handpicked all these like reasonable parcels that I thought be really good locations for foot traffic. And then when the last kind of countdown came in, the Hammer Time countdown, like half of those just started getting sniped. And yeah, I did, you know, at that time kind of freak out a little bit, and I did overbid on some things. But like you were saying, also at the same time, it's like there's certain arrangements you might be able to get right now through like bidding on parcels that you might not be able to get later on in the game, just because you might have like that one guy that wants to sell you his spacious for like 99,000 ghost, you know, just because he knows that you need it to complete your set, right? So to avoid something like that, like it's okay to overpay maybe depending on
Yeah,
what
and
your
like, look,
objectives
the
are.
game is what it is, and that person, kudos to them for, you know, I probably should have been a little smarter, you know, perhaps obfuscated my purchases like between two accounts, whatever. Like I got lazy, and kudos to them to figuring out like, hey, look, this guy's, you know, dropping some serious ghosts and trying to like hold down like all this chunk. You know, I was so mad, but then I was like, you know what? Let me like not bid back. And sure enough, like when we got into the Hammer Time, because what I ended up doing is hurting myself, is like giving him his liquidity back so he could just jump to another one, right? So once I kind of like caught the game, I was like, oh, well, let me just let these run out and they're mine. And then like I'll go after the last one that he's like messing with. And sure enough, but after that, it was, you know, it was he did well, and that's part of the game, and I love it, and I'm happy for that person that they got the ghost. And overall, all of them ended up being like around like 1,700 to 1,600 average, which is pretty high for a spacious. But I feel like what you said, you know, for accomplishing like a block, you know, on a four-way stop, you know, on and having the corner with like six, you know, with 12, I'm sorry, 16 parcels. It's, you know, I don't know how many of those are going to happen in the game. And, you know, maybe one day there's an opportunity to sell it to a big brand or someone that really wants to, you know, have an appearance. And it's been a lot of fun because, you know, me and Master Yang have been, we're in the cryptocurrency space, and, you know, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we've been postulating some very interesting ideas in how to build things in Aavegtochi that can really benefit our business in the real world, which is interesting, right? And that's a new thing for me and really exciting, and kind of overall, I'm happy the way that they're taking the game with this whole like, hey, come on and build your DApp, you know, make the money. And I am more interested to see like how the rights of money moving in and out of Aavegtochi will work, you know. But I don't know, again, how much they can really do, because right, we can do just like we can do OTC deals outside of the game. You know, I'm sure you'll be able to get around kind of anything that they can kind of stop you up on or try to take a piece of. But yeah, really exciting, and like I hope to be able to do some really cool stuff, you know, with that big chunk of land. And actually, I went really hard for the guild in District 11 and 12. So if you're in those districts, you know, say hello. Let's collaborate. You know, let's start talking about, you know, what the objective of the districts is, and District 11 is my favorite, and I would say I probably deployed a total in District 11 of about another 10 to 12 spacious parcels and a big mix of reasonables and humbles. So, let's play the game. Let's make something awesome.
Yeah, nice. I mean, that's a pretty large kind of acquisition of parcels, and especially like it being all in a chunk like that. Like I could see lots of use cases, even from like a renting perspective, where uh, you could see that in Sandbox right now. Actually, there's partnerships forming in Sandbox that are like big real world corporations, like Adidas, for example, partnering with Sandbox and having an area to host events and whatnot. Like I could see that totally happening in the Gotchiverse over time. It's just once things get established and people see like really can see the value that's being generated, that's when we'll see a flood of these like larger partners coming in being like, we need like a plot that's like 5 spacious by 5 spacious, and we're gonna work with a group of people to help establish that so we can,
Yeah,
host our brand or
have the
whatever.
space for whatever we want to do, and yeah, that's where it's kind of getting wild. I've actually been thinking a lot about the gameplay, and I don't know what you guys all think about this, but I wonder if like when we do get a launch in January, it'll be like this full persistent world where like we'll be able to traverse to each other's plots, or if they'll do something like maybe just get the farm mechanic going right and just have like a UI with like all your parcels where you can like jump into each parcel and work it and then like jump out and then jump in. I've been thinking about that a lot because I think everybody has expectations of this persistent, like, full world where we can traverse and walk from one end to the other in the Citadel. But I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah, I think it'll be like that, and the persistent world is definitely going to be like an aspect of the Gotchiverse that is going to be something new. Just because I have played other MMORPGs, and the thing with those is uh, their their gameplay is usually hosted on multiple servers, right? So, like with Aavegtochi, what they're doing is putting everything on this one giant server, or I guess it's managed by a group of servers, but it's one
Yeah,
like
there's no layers.
persistent world, like you said. Hmm. Yeah, there's no layers, and that will make things interesting for events because it'll be like there'll be groups of gotchis of people that will never really get the chance to interact with each other unless there's certain events hosted that will bring those people together, like make it worthwhile for someone in Australia, to, for example, to stay up till 2 a.m. to like get in on some kind of an event.
If you think about it, it's never really like been done before. So if they can like pull it off, like even like RuneScape, you had multiple worlds. Like World of Warcraft, you definitely had multiple servers. Fortnite, you have 100 people to a battle royale. Like even like Decentraland, you only have like 30 people to a server. So if they can actually accomplish where like every single player can be on one server, I think that's a huge feat in itself. That I personally, I may be like ignorant and I haven't seen this before, but like I don't think it's been done before. So kudos on that.
I mean, I'd say like playing WoW, like I could like, and even like let's say like just hanging out in like one of the major cities in WoW, in Agramar or like Ironforge. I never really seen more than like 3, 4, 500 people on the screen at once, and I think at that point, like Hefe was saying, they start layering, and I've even been like, hey, what layer are you on? Oh, okay, can you invite me to your party so I can jump to that layer, right?
Right.
So yeah, like these are the things I'm thinking about, like how are they going to do this? But I mean, I think that maybe since the game's in phaser, it's not heavy. I don't know, right? And that's what I've been thinking about. Like, I'm kind of skeptical a little bit to like what the first launch is going to be like, and I wonder if they like go for a layup, like, hey, look, for now you're just going to jump into like each of your spaces, start building, get your shit going while we like connect everything else together.
It's probably going to be that off the bat. I think it's mainly going to be farming and like building your structures to get the like base core mechanic. I mean, you got to build a foundation here. Like, I mean, it's going to be a completely blank canvas. So, and there's obviously doing this for the first time, you're going to need that user feedback to test out like how it's actually working, and then being able to iterate on that to create the best experience possible. It's not going to be the like best game in the world off the bat. Like you got to have like expectations kind of lower. Not to say that this is like expectations for this for me is low, but this is something that it is very difficult to do. Hasn't been done before. There is no roadmap that you can take based off of another person's business model. So it's like there's going to be some bumps like we saw in like the first auction, but then over time you notice where those pain points are, and then you continuously iterate and improve upon them.
Yeah. Hey, Avid, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What was good, Avid?
Just chilling at work here, waiting for something to do. Just chilling and listening to y'all.
Yeah, right on. How did the auction experience go for you?
Not bad. I did not have the same kind of capital that sounds like you guys had, but at least got some reasonables locked down. They were all like touching, and then I think I actually got a couple other reasonables that were like just scattered. But yeah, my main thing was just making sure that like people I know personally were able to get some like parcels next to me. So like they sent me their ghosts, and we just kind of get them all together so we can be able to manage all of ours together. But yeah, at least got all of our reasonables in District 1, so I was pretty happy with it. Mine's connected to the road. I think it's like northern. It's like right at, where was it at? So it's pretty close to like the top right of District 1.
So it's District 1 and it's adjacent to a road, is that right?
Yes. It's like right between a bunch of
that's awesome,
spacious
dude.
parcels. So there's like a kind of like a just sideways row going of a bunch of reasonables. So I got like the first 4 that were touching the road.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Like in a row kind of thing?
Yeah, like mine touches the road, and then like the ones for other people I was working with, they're all like basically beside mine, just going away from the road. But
Oh,
yeah.
that's really cool. Yeah. I think there's 2 things there. Like one thing is like it's in District 1, and then it's also adjacent to a road, which Coder Dan actually had clarified last Hangout that these would be these parcels close to a road would be great because your travel speed is going to be a lot quicker on a road compared to across a parcel. Like you'll get some kind of like speed multiplier.
Yeah, that'll definitely be good then for sure.
I did not know that. That's
And then,
cool. I missed this. I missed this Saturday morning. Unfortunately, I had a soccer game. But yeah, I mean that's really cool. That's good to know because like now it makes sense. Like all the black, like you can definitely get around everywhere. Like if you zoom into the map, there's literally black pixel, at least 1 pixel wide, right? Which is what a Gotchi is between every parcel. So I guess you'll just move slower through all that, I guess.
Yeah, or like it sounded like your movement speed would still be based off of like your stats, your energy stats, but then you'd get like an additional like multiplier boost, like if you're on a
That's
road.
really cool. And
So
that tells me that like they may be further along with the gameplay than even I. Like I might be over doubting for no reason because if they're walking around on the roads, right, that would imply like yeah, you'll be able to walk to your buddy's parcel.
I think they've been taking the approach of under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
And they don't want to like even in the hangouts they don't like, oh, this is not confirmed. They won't like kind of like tell us what they're thinking about just so that we don't like kind of like over expect and like well now that we're expecting that to be implemented and it might not even be possible for them to implement. So like a lot of this stuff is definitely still in the works, and I definitely think they're further along than we even know, obviously because we haven't seen anything. But they're planning on doing a test net this month. So, and they have like those beasts from CoinMarketCap working on the back end and all that stuff. So,
are they really? Did they announce? Yeah, I'm sorry. Like if it was set on Saturday, but they are doing a test net this month.
Yeah,
they mentioned it today.
Yeah,
they mentioned it today. Jesse was saying that the plan is to get us some Mumbai testnet action prior to launch, but that they said that they won't make it like a big publicity thing so that we'll have time to like go in, kind of beta test, and then hopefully get it by sometime in January.
Whoa, that's mega exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I just wonder, like, since they don't want it to kind of be public, I'm like, should I make any videos about the testnet experience or not? Because like that's like this is what we've been waiting for. So
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's hype. Like people would
Yeah.
be so excited to see that. Like any game that I've ever played, like I always watch testnet videos, and like, if I don't have the time to actually join myself, so I mean that would be great for your viewership overall.
Yeah,
Honestly, what you could do with that too is like, just you could record all the videos, have that stuff ready, and then like, kind of coordinate with the team and figure out like, kind of close to like when they're actually going to have everything go live. Just use it as promo for everybody to get excited for it and have a certain date in mind for it too.
Hold up, I'll be right back. Going to buy some ghosts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the testnet thing will be interesting.
No, I like that idea.
Gonna need to get some more ghosts after all that land that we accumulated today. I think everybody probably is guilty of going a little overboard. It's just too too appetizing. When you're in it and the adrenaline's going, the excitement's going. It's just like, oh, you know what? It's just it's like being locked in, your favorite store, like almost with some of like-minded individuals, like just go to town. So yeah, more ghosts necessary always.
My personal thinking is like I'm like always at 0 ghost. Like if I'm not deploying my ghosts in the same way that I think about kind of like with investing in fiat is that if I don't have my money working for me and I'm not putting it into the game and I'm not able to like move forward, then I mean I can stake it, I can do the Frens stuff, that's a good play too, but like I want to be in the game, I want to play the game, I want to have land, I want to have gotchis, I want to have wearables. Like I feel like those are you're gonna have like a much leverage play on Ghost because those are the stuff being used within the game, and as those have more utility, you're able to make more and then get more Ghosts later on.
I employ the same theory with Ethereum and NFTs, so we're definitely we have the same thesis when it comes to these
Nice.
things. It's just I'm always low on Ethereum, need more Ethereum to buy more NFTs or whatever it may be, and then same thing with Ghost. Always need more Ghost, could never have enough.
Yeah, and being a Bitcoin guy, like people don't want to spend their Bitcoin; they want to collect their Bitcoin, use it for savings. Like there's not a lot of people wanting to use Bitcoin like they use Ethereum and Ghost to deploy in different ways. Like I see Bitcoin more as like long-term savings, generational wealth, and then like the Ethereum and Polygon more as a way to increase my stack and be able to maybe turn some of those profits more into Bitcoin later down the line, or just continue to build my stack over a Polygon.
You're just opening up Pandora's box now to turn this into a Bitcoin conversation.
I mean, Bitcoin's always on my mind, man.
I think you've been guilty of this several times, actually. But it's
I'm a reformed Bitcoin maxi.
Same here. I'm a recovering Bitcoin maxi, or reformed one, I guess you could say. I still am very pro maxi Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm still in recovery, to be honest. I mean, I still like go into like the Bitcoin spaces and like talk to people, and it's like I can't mention Aavegtochi because then I'll lose credibility. It's like fuck.
And
But,
that's
like,
the
it's
problem
like they don't.
right there.
I'm an
understand.
Aavegtochi maxi.
It's still on the. It's connected to a URL thesis. Right save click like it's right click save. Like they're still on that, and they don't understand like the use case within like gaming and that stuff. I mean, we're disrupting $100 billion industry right here. Like that cannot be understated. Like
Gotchi is the ultimate anti-right-click save argument that exists. Like, you cannot right-click save my Gotchi. They will
Right.
not let you into the Gotchiverse, asshole.
you will not be able to enter. With
I've
the
actually had a,
right click save.
yeah, I've actually had like a few people convert over to NFTs, and actually change what they think about NFTs, because they either heard it through a friend and they were just like, yeah, whatever, it's like some dumb like right-click save thing. And then I've talked to them about Aavegtochi, and they actually see the value in it right away because everybody understands games. Like a lot of the people I've talked to have played a lot of these mini games that we have in the arcade, like other like versions of them, and they see the appeal of that right away.
Yeah, and I think that like that's what attracted Master Yin and myself to Aavegtochi. Like we first got into NFTs and specifically probably like art block stuff and just buying like fine generative art or maybe even rare pepes or whatever it may be. And then, Aavegtochi was just like, a couple of layers deeper where it's like, okay, you have these like portals, from a haunt and, each one contains, X amount of gotchis. You can summon one of them and that gotchi is unique NFT. And now you can take that NFT and you can go ahead and, buy wearables for it. And then you can eventually use it later on when the game is playable. And, you can stake friends and you can earn yield. And it's like, wow, like you have all these things now where you also have the NFT. And that's kind of like what really drove like, us like just like full blown, like over the last couple of months, especially like deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's like now, like we don't even know where we are. We're just like super deep in Aavegtochi metaverse. Like we're helping organize 8-bit gamers guild now, like, helping like to start a DAO. And like, we're just looking at this now where it's like, okay, we have this whole new world that we can go ahead and create, decentralized applications for within the game. We can create services and products for our members and also for even other DAOs to help their members. And, like there's just going to be like I can see the next easily 5 years of just building, and we could probably like parse out a roadmap like for that long, maybe even longer, with just so many different things to like add value to the game, add utility to the game, and then also increase the stakeholder wealth of those that got here early and those who are also within our guild and other guilds, and then also those showing up that like want to contribute and add value as well.
Yeah, and it's early. Like whatever the pricing is right now in the markets is due to the fact that we're so early. You could collect land parcels and gotchis right now. Like I collect them like they're potato chips because I know that over time the utility and the value that's going to be added to these things, I'll get more than that back in Ghost or whatever other value, right?
I think the rising floor price, like the rising market floor price on gotchis, like would say that you're exactly right on that. As the value and utility like of the gotchis continues to go up and the game gets built out more and there's more you can do with those gotchis to earn more money, like the floor is just going to continually rise.
Yeah, it goes
I
up a
think
bit.
Gotchi rentals are going to be hot.
Yeah, I was just saying it.
Yeah, that rising
you-
floor price.
They're definitely
Dude.
going to be hot, and you're right about that, Hefe. And like I was just saying, like, hey, usually I see after at least the last auction that we're going to get another little bump in the floor price of gotchis because people buy all this land and then they're like, oh my god, wait, I don't have like a character to play with.
Yeah, and like for example, CGU, just like one of the gamer guilds that's interested in joining, they have like I don't know over 10,000 players or something like that. They have an insane amount of players. Or I think it's tens of thousands. I have to look into it more, but it is a massive player group.
I think that's interesting to watch some of these big DAOs come into this space and, like we talk a lot with DAOs like, oh, they have like, a lot of players or whatever it may be. But, the question I wonder is like, are the games that all these players are playing easy games like for them? Like, with like not the same kind of like levels of deeper thought or complexity like Aavegtochi brings to the table. And like I think there's going to be a much different like approach as a guild, which is like quality over quantity of the player. And that's something guilds and DAOs are going to really have to think about deeply because there's going to be finite amount of gotchis. And then subsequently, like the game mechanics are going to require like, probably an above average like player that might be playing Axe Infinity or something.
Yeah, like we were talking about that with the Meta Guild guys when I was talking to them about how they're kind of structuring their guild. They already have a well-established player group based in Axie Infinity, in Ember Sword. There's a few other games that they're involved with, but they're basically saying Aavegtochi and what Aavegtochi does and the way they're focused on community building, that's what Meta Guild was basically built for. It was built for a game like this. So a lot of DAOs and guilds are also looking at this being like, we're involved in all these other games, but Aavegtochi aligns so well with our ethos, with like what we really want to accomplish here, what we want to do. And so you have like Meta Guild, for example, they have like I think around 5,000 total players, and maybe 500 of them play Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity, a lot of people play it because it's easy and it's a little grindy and you can make a little bit of money from it. But Aavegotchi has a whole nother level of complexity to it. But it's a lot easier to onboard someone who has already been in a play-to-earn ecosystem. So at this point, I think we'll see quickly a lot of these players who've already been, interacting with some of these play-to-earn games make a quick leap over to Aavegotchi. And then after that, we're going to see the floodgates open for other players who have never played play-to-earn games.
What do you guys think is going to be the ratio of Aavegotchis per parcel, like required to make a parcel efficient, assuming that it's an average player? Like I think about that a lot too.
I think it would be interesting to see over time, like in terms of collecting data, to see how many hours a person is spending with the Aavegotchi, farming with it, and then what the yield is with that amount of time that they're spending, right? That would give us a good idea of some of those things.
Well, I also think it's interesting because people, I don't know if anybody's really thought about this or spoken on it. The fact is right now, there's 27,000 parcels available in the bazaar. Not all of them up on the bazaar, but 27,000 parcels. There's only been 17,000, I believe, Aavegotchi that have been summoned and claimed. So even if all of the rest of the Aavegotchis are claimed, after this raffle, we're still going to have a deficit of 5,000 less gotchis than parcels. So I think that by itself is going to drive the price up of the Aavegotchis. But I would imagine that we're going to get a lot of the potential of 1-to-1, like one gotchi, one parcel, because they're just the supply is off from gotchis to land.
Yeah, like it's almost like you need at least one gotchi worth the parcel, and then maybe like you'll have to rotate that player to like 3 or 4 parcels a day or something, you know? Yeah, crazy stuff. Like I have no idea, but I'm trying to figure it out because I'm like, I ended up with way too many parcels, and like I'm like, oh my god, I need more gotchis, and like yeah, they're not cheap anymore. They were never really cheap, but they were cheaper.
Yeah, and I think the price is going to keep going up because like we see it like the price of the gotchis, the floor prices for Han 1 jumped to like almost 700 ghosts. It's come down a little bit, but as more of these guilds buy in more, it's going to be, supply is going to get crunched. So I also wonder, like, are we going to walk around in the gotchiverse? Because there are players, like, I have 17 gotchis. Until I get them rented, I'm not going to be able to play with all of them. I also have 20 parcels of land. So, will there be a, situation where there are, some parcels that are owned by people right now? Like Liz Lele, she owns a parcel, but she doesn't own an Aavegotchi. Or if she doesn't rent it, like that Alchemica is just going to be sitting there, or the parcel will be undeveloped for some time until we get more players involved in the game.
That also makes me really excited about the smaller player again, because obviously someone that has a lot of land and isn't going to be able to spend all the time to mine that to get the rewards, but say someone that only has one land or 1 or 2 land that they can just constantly just do every day, they're going to be getting that constant Alchemica flow and be able to build up their stack a little bit faster than some of those bigger guys. But those bigger guys obviously have more capability of getting bigger Alchemica back by just either by renting out, and then you kind of get it all at once versus that consistent. It's kind of like the tortoise and the hare, not exactly. But it just allows the smaller guy to increase their stack a little bit faster, which allows them to move up quicker. Whereas if you're bigger in the game, it might be a little bit slower, but you're still going to be making a lot of return. I mean, either way, win-win.
Yeah, and I wonder, like in the beginning, are we going to have a lot of people just creating these harvesters and just selling them on the bazaar, because we'll be able to sell them as individual like NFTs. So is there going to be a market that gets created for these whales that they don't have the ability to have Aavegtochis farming all the time. They might have to automate some of their operations, and I think that's where some of these structures come in that might take some of the pressure off Aavegtochis farming because as long as you have a harvester installed, that kind of automates your farming operations somewhat. As long as you can build as long as you can build reservoirs that are large enough that you won't have to like keep coming back to them all the time. From what I understand, they'll be able to hold a significant amount, and then you can just keep your harvesters going. So I wonder if there's going to be a market that forms around that.
I think in the beginning it's going to be like a lot more about like the channeling and also like the loose alchemica until that whole kind of harvester reservoir economy gets going. And yeah, it's really interesting what Golden was saying and the fact that, as somebody that has deployed substantial amounts of capital, like I want to do it and I like it and this interests me, but I'm also compelled to, and like it's in my best interest to go build community, to go, build a DAO, to involve other people in my wealth creation, which will benefit them and creates this nice feedback loop, right? Like you all were saying, right? Benefits everybody because yeah, like perhaps I don't want to just let my land sit, right? Maybe I want to assault the market with Keck in particular, right? And so like we shift the whole guild resources to mining a lot of Keck, right? And like being able to hit with a punch and deploy your strategy with your team is going to be a big part of this game. But it's really crazy because you're doing it like in an economy. So it blows my mind. Every weekend's a mind blowing with Aavegtochi, and I'm going poor. I'm just gonna have ghosts and only ghosts now, but I'm okay with that. But it's gonna be very 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 challenging because somebody asked in the guild chat today like why should I join a guild, like why can't I just solo play, and it's like you can, but there will be many benefits to cooperating with others in this game.
And that's actually another great point that you make. And we talked about this with Sandro from MetaGuild, and he was talking about how the thing he notices about Aavegtochi, which he really praises us for, is our coordination efforts with these guilds and DAOs and all this stuff, and how closely we get to know each other. We know each other, quite, like a lot of us know each other quite well and have formed friendships through Aavegtochi. Whereas if you look at Axie Infinity with their scholarship programs, those players don't even really talk to each other. They're one team of Axies is one unit, and it can sustain itself essentially as long as you're a good player. You don't have to talk to other players. There's no incentive for that. In fact, you're better off just focusing on your own team and grinding away and do that. But the thing they were saying with Aavegtochi is this ability to coordinate, and actually it's necessary to coordinate because we have these like large forces that will be opposing Aavegtochis over time. One of them being these liquidators, and how they could grow to be a large threat or a force on their own to like all these farming operations and business models that we're talking about building. So like the ability to coordinate and the need to coordinate can't be understated enough. Like we have like a year of preparation for all this stuff to start going down. And the better prepared we are, the more profitable, the better off each person's going to be.
I couldn't agree more, but let's just like this is some Ender game shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we're like about to go and play like a war economy simulation, and like it's going to be studied and it's like somehow mapped to like real world events that are like happening unbeknownst to us while we're just like shopping and farming in the Gotchiverse. Like it's getting weird.
Yeah, it is. It is getting strange that way. How there's going to be some models that are replicated in the Gotchiverse that maybe already exist in the real world. I mean, like we're still human beings at the end of the day, operating these things. So like we can't expect not to act like human beings. We can't expect there to not be like some greed at some points, and some other things at some points. Some malicious activity maybe at some points. But that's like the thing with all these DAOs and sub DAOs that are going to be forming in the game, is that we're going to have these like really well governed, really well set up governance structures, and it'll allow everyone to have a voice. And if someone puts up something on their land in your district and it's like very obscene and offensive, then the DAO could possibly vote to have that item removed or whatever, right? So like there's things that there are like tools that are going to be put in place to make sure that um, even though there is this like tension, there is some opposition and some conflict, there's going to be some tools in place to at least make sure that there isn't that much or a malicious activity doesn't like get out of hand.
Yeah, we were talking risk factors to the game today, a couple of us, and that's certainly one of them. I think that the two like biggest risk factors are like a poor choice in game design or economy design. We've seen it time and time again. If you've played any MMORPGs, the game economy is fragile and can be broken by the game creator or by cheating. And then that's the other major risk on for me, is like making sure that they're able to control cheating, and especially like in the world, in the Gotchi verse, right? Because like it definitely helps to have a attestation with the blockchain, but there's always going to be people like messing with the client and doing weird things and trying to trick their servers, and who knows. Hopefully not too much of it, but those are the things that do keep me up at night thinking about Aavegtochi.
Yeah, and those are all valid points as well, right? Uh, I just always kind of keep in mind that maybe that's a reason why we are starting with the supply of gotchis so low, is so we can kind of start like a small and robust ecosystem of Aavegotchis and kind of let those problems arise on a small scale so we can deal with them, rather than having the game grow exponentially fast and out of control, and then these problems arising later on.
Yeah, Jesse kind of alluded to that today. The idea of like starting simple and building up from there so that you avoid over-promising and under-delivering, because it's going to be a monumental undertaking anyway. So it'd be good, like, we during our Mumbai test, we kind of like knock it out. But the one thing I will say is with the testnet stuff, we did do testnet stuff for the original land auction. And, there was a lot of issues that came up when they went full, no longer on testnet. But that had more to do with, like, servers being overloaded because of loading 500 listings at once. We actually had some of that also in this auction a little bit, where they had up to 1,000 listings if you went into the list and sort. And after, like, 10 listings, it wouldn't show results. Like, everything was blank. They said they eventually switched it down to 500, so... it was fixed, but we're gonna have to test and figure all that stuff out.
Yeah, I think eventually they'll want to do a bug bounty of some sort. I think
That would certainly be wise. Like, and I think hopefully like the community around here, and I see a lot of talented devs, and even just like being close to Alvi when he was making Astagachi, and just having people break the game and do things like that, and contact him directly and have a conversation about it. Like, that speaks well for the community so far. But there's definitely like a bunch of like talented people that can code around here. So it certainly will be interesting, I think, to see what's up. But I think that the game is like so good even now without the actual Gotchiverse that that definitely alleviates some of the pressure in terms of like, having weird client issues or like weird Gotchiverse issues. They at least have this like great game that has solid primitives, that people are even enjoying without the Gotchiverse, right? Because in the end, like all of us playing Aavegtochi in the form that it's in right now, like we're still all connecting. We're here in the spaces. We're up in the Discord. We're talking to each other. We're forming community. Like it's still a game, right? Like everything's a game pretty much, right? Or it can be a game. And so, I think that gating the characters is probably one of the sickest and kind of craziest advantages I've ever seen in game development, where it's like, no, like we're only going to allow like 25,000 players. You know what I'm saying? Like, here, take a ticket, maybe go grab a liquidator. You'll never see the Citadel. We'll never have to render you in the Citadel at the same time as everybody else. That's really interesting too, and I think that that's going to help them succeed in the long term.
Yeah, I think the more that you can come at this and in the traditional gaming sphere, like just leveling up and getting to the instead of, I mean, the assets do have financial value, but the more you can just kind of get set and kind of financial, more. And I'm trying to get more ghosts to get more stuff to move up in the game. The better you're gonna do. Then the more fun you're having, the more you're kind of immersed in the whole experience. And the overall experience is just a lot better to get to the top eventually if you work hard enough. And that's the whole idea about play to earn is if you work hard, you can make it.
Yeah, and that's like with what also what Master Yin was saying too with we're kind of like, because we have such a strong community that's already developed over the last year, we're already a community of players. Like we have these mini games, we can play with each other. We all enjoy gaming and we just all enjoy hanging out with each other. But once the Gotchi vs. Realm comes out, we'll also be a community of players who can farm and like actually generate these tokens through farming rather than just being players who farm from the start, right? There's no community piece there. So the fact that we have a community is huge just for like a social platform.
We're also the most active
Yeah,
DAO in the world. Just having that little XP
that's a good
for your
point.
Gotchi,
I saw that.
It's a world of difference, and you really make a true decentralized autonomous organization because you have a lot more people voting on a lot more things instead of the more central, only a few people in, and maybe the quorum's lower, or I don't know. But it really makes the decision making how we move forward really decentralized and allows the all reliant on Pixelcraft. It's more community and the devs around the community building and apps and creating like spaces like this space for people to talk and create community, actually like come together and make a real something like seen before in the sense of like a true like working together in a new economy, and it's so exciting.
I think like all the buy-in that everyone's put into this game with their time, it cannot be understated. I think that we will all end up being, helpful in the rollout of this game, and we have a vested interest in its success. So it's really becoming, and NFTs have enabled this, right? This crazy idea that like, wow, now a creator, in this case, the Summoners, Pixelcraft, Jesse and Coder Dan, they created this world. They created this NFT that allowed a community to be bound and to organize around this like same concept. And now like, a game is going to be launched because of it. And everybody in the Aavegtochi many of us have participated in the snapshots, participated in the community, suggested. They've been heard. Things have been changed in the game. Things have been made better because of the community. It's a couple thousand bug bounty people already in all of us, and not only just like, hey, I paid $50, I pay a subscription to play this game, and like whatever. No, like I believe in the future of this game. I've committed my time and my money, and so therefore I think in the Gotchiverse rollout, this volatility that could come perhaps from not a completely 100% perfect rollout will not come and will be forgiven because of everybody's buy-in into kind of a long-term vision of what this game will be over time.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like the community and the strength of the community is like the hedge against like, these kind of black swan random events happening. Because we all have such a deep understanding of the game. Fear is not typically an emotion you feel when you have strong conviction in something, right? So if you have a strong conviction in Aavegtochi and that's going to be a successful game, you're not going to fear some event that happens where there's a bug or whatever, people are still going to have conviction in the game to hold their bags and not really dump on anybody because there'd be no point. I mean, there's probably people on the sidelines waiting to buy your bags if you're going to be selling them. So, and that's very true with Aavegtochi, given the small sample size of Aavegtochis that are available right now. But I also wanted to touch on the point that you made about how we have very low voter apathy. And I tweeted about this earlier in the week because someone had thrown out a chart of all these different DAOs and the voter engagement of the proposals in the DAO versus the size of the DAO. And Aavegtochi by no means was like the largest DAO there, but we had the highest engagement for the size of our voting sample. And I think that really does have to do with gamifying voting. The fact that we're gamifying voting is it's just it's eliminating any voter apathy because I get stoked to like vote on proposals, and not only because I get some XP out of it, so there's a personal incentive, of course. Like, of course, I vote on them just to get XP, but at the same time, when these things go through, and I vote on something that I genuinely am concerned about, I feel like I actually play a significant part in the game as well. And so not everyone's going to care about every single proposal that comes up. Everyone will get rewarded as long as they participate. But the big thing for me is when you actually vote on something you actually want to pass or not pass, there's such a large personal incentive there to get it involved and to get your votes in. And when those things go through, it just feels so good. It's like you're basically helping create this game.
Yeah, 100. The community has like been one of my biggest conviction points. The participation of the community, their interest in the game and the live events and the Discord. Maybe that's motivated by XP, but I like to believe, like you do, that people are genuinely interested in like shaping the future of Aavegtochi. Having a common world that we all share is going to be next level on that. It's only going to like throw fuel on the fire because like here's like this common space that we like aesthetically share now and can persist in. Hey, like everybody's going to be twice as into it now.
Damn, I just want to say my edible just hit like hard, like holy crap. I took it right before I went to play basketball like 3 hours ago, and I'm just like, yo, why am I so... Yeah, I was like, I started getting real tired. I'm like, it's like, holy crap.
Well, I mean, I can't say all, but I've definitely been there.
I don't find it surprising.
I know I'm super hungover today.
Is 420 friendly. The biggest meme in the whole NFT community is 42069, and cryptocurrency. So there's definitely some crossover there.
Yeah, we have 420,000 parcels in the Gotchiverse.
And dude, like,
yeah, that means we're gonna have to have a lot of fun.
People for having fun.
Yeah, they're like children. They're so excited to talk about this, which is amazing.
It kind of makes us all kind of feel like children talking about it. I mean, we're kind of getting back into the game, but it's more for adults and making money moves, and it's kind of getting that nostalgia in to the old days of 8-bit gaming, and I just love the whole everyone for like nostalgia over like COVID, like so like going back to like the whole like collecting Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh cards and getting back to like the past nostalgia factor for that and grading cards there. I definitely I graded cards. I can't. I'm trying to collect the whole first edition fossil set in PSA 10. That's one of my like life goals that I set for myself. So I have a bunch of graded cards coming back, going back to like the nostalgia factor. Just like people are just looking forward to get back to their childhood and that fun in life because COVID's been so such a downer.
That can't be said enough. Like the even having this sense of community and having this ability to talk about like these items and like their rarity, and it just brings me back to when I was a kid playing RuneScape, talking about like what everyone has in their like bank and stuff. It's kind of cool, right? And everyone can have a unique thing that they can flex. Like you don't need to have a super rare Aavegtochi, but if you took care of your Aavegtochi from the very start and you have like a really high kinship, like that's a really dope Aavegtochi. It doesn't really matter if it has a 470 BRS. Like you could still go up to some like other people in the game and be like, hey, I have like this 560 kinship Aavegtochi, and they'd be like, oh shit, that's crazy. Like, did you hand pet that thing or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
There's always going to be like a reason to
I don't have
flex.
no 500 kinship Aavegtochi, so I'm jelly of all you like H1 guys. I wasn't around for that. So it definitely counts for something. Certainly has merit, and I think that we're humans. We like to express our accomplishments, and I think that they've been pretty smart about keeping their eye on the prize with that, and already having like something for the parcels, an installation that's going to be like a trophy case, and like I think the liquidator side is going to be really cool for that, because in my mind and we've talked about this before, I keep analogizing it to like Diablo 2 like hardcore mode, where it's like, hey, like if you have a liquidator that's been around and alive and collected X amount of Alchemica and never died, that's going to mean something for sure. And that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, actually, I asked about the aesthetic structures in the realm that you'll be able to build. So there's this like group of structures you'll be able to build called Aesthetica, and one of them is like a trophy case, like what you were saying. And then one of the other ones is also you'll be able to this big like strip of parcels, and you have like these, just like a long walk that someone can do along these parcels and see like all these different NFTs, or like let's say you're like a photographer or a producer or whatnot. Like I know Thrax, for example. I know you're in here and you do some insane artwork. You've done some insane productions that I've been blown away. Like some of the things you created, and I could see someone like you um, taking this to the next level and doing like some crazy like photography or some crazy production, have that on loop and just like playing on your parcel. Like it's gonna open up the doors for like all the different things that you can do, and you'll be able to flex your creativity that way.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned in space in here before, but yeah, I still need to find a developer to help me make some shit, because I've been planning out some stuff in notes, and yes, I haven't like doxed myself yet, so y'all don't know like what I do outside of this shit. But I definitely plan to have some music videos release, maybe like in the Gotchi verse first, like before they hit anywhere else. Because one of my friends, I'm planning to get him in, since he hasn't had his own capital, so I've been waiting for lending, so I could just of course permanently lend him one. And yeah, definitely I'm trying to get that dude in, because he does like fantastic music, like he's signed and everything. So yeah, I already know like we're trying to do some cool shit with like having a like a public theater, like maybe you could pay like a couple ghosts to get in with a ticket, have some cool DAP set up for that. And I think it'd be really sick too to have like other people, like I know there's got to be other people that do film stuff. Like I can't remember who it was, but there's at least one other person I know that already does film. So I think it'd be dope too to have like even like a like a Gotchi like film festival type thing, like have that every like quarter, year, however we do it. But yeah, definitely think
Should
there's all kinds of options for creators for sure.
invite you to the Gotchiverse Media International, like a little like coalition of creators. Definitely hop in there, throw around some ideas. We're trying to figure out like a lot of like bringing entertainment to the Gotchiverse. Also on the note of like needing developers, another reason why I've been a bunch of my friends that are developers have been getting into this game, and that have done like more track work and stuff. I'm trying to get them into Web3 so that we can like help other people build some stuff as well as build some stuff ourselves. And one of the main guys who's been a developer for years, script, has some experience with like stuff, but a DJ also. Oh no, he did. Yeah, he makes music and that kind of stuff. And I think he would definitely be help. You should definitely get in contact. around some ideas for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think finding good developers, that's going to be the main focus of a lot of guilds at this point, whether they're creators or I know
There's gonna be
there's
a
a lot of guilds
shortage
that have
of
been talking
good
about
devs.
it.
Yes, but a huge shortage for good devs.
Right.
Opportunity for anyone that is a dev to come into the space and really make a name for themselves.
Man, that's the worst part is I personally know like multiple people that do like game development, coding, like back-end security, like all that kind of stuff. And like, I can't get them in. Like I've been working on them since May and they're just like, oh, you're doing that NFT stuff. You're part of the cult. I'm just like, all right, guys, keep saying it. I'm going to tell you I told you so.
I mean, like for me, UX designer, I'm trying to get into the development side of it. I'm actually like building my React portfolio to submit to Pixelcraft. So fingers crossed there. But
oh yeah,
the just thinking about the I keep going back to my portfolio. What was the original thing that you were saying? I kind of lost my thought.
I was just talking about finding devs in general, mentioning my friends that don't believe in NFTs.
I was like, did you eat one of the edibles too?
Oh yeah, I remember my thought.
Someone ate an edible.
Yeah, a little bit. Not an edible. But just thinking back, bringing in devs. Shit, I lost again. My bad.
Well, I mean, I'll just add on and say, that it's more important than ever right now, like to collaborate and coordinate with other devs too, because like the barrier to entry for Web3 right now is just so low. Like, that's so awesome that you have like a UI UX background already to start off from. Like me personally, I started with like no coding experience at all, and now like I'm finally getting a grasp of JavaScript, and like now I'm trying to move on to learning some of the other things that I need to start building mini games, because I feel like it's just really easy for someone that has no experience right now to get involved, where the need for talent is so high, and the capital is available, but there's nobody there. And I just find it so strange that a Web 2 developer wouldn't want to join and hop onto the Web 3 train. And I don't know why they'd have so much resistance to change when they can actually better their own lives. Like, Web 3 is all about like decentralization and giving power back to you. And like all these devs probably get overworked, and, they're probably in some like really intense work environments where they could instead just be doing something for themselves and making a career out of that.
Third time's the charm. Yeah, definitely the Web 2 stuff, being a UI UX designer, just noticing how the business model around a lot of the Web 2 stuff was more focused on like user data mining and trading on human futures and providing users advertising, and just knowing the like discuss it's in there, like looking at business models that are there.
Get involved, get some community insight and everything else. And he literally told me, he's like, man, my ultimate goal, I just want to finish my own game and put it on Steam. I was like, what? It's like,
why?
You got so much opportunity, and it's like, how many people, like small devs, like 1 or 2 people, put up a game on Steam and like have like crazy success from that? Like there's just, it's oversaturated. And then meanwhile, you've got all these opportunities here, and like people just don't want to get involved because they just don't want to learn.
Yeah, the business model on web so much better than trying to throw out a game in super saturated market, like trying to throw an app into the app store, like luck. But I mean, the business model over here of like actually creating your own kind of own economy, being able to actually let the users like move up in the game through and have it holding the value, like the opportunity that you can actually draw in people, especially because there's a lot of eyes moving from Web 2 over to Web 3, and there's not a lot of good quality products. You're able to, and you're a really good dev, to create a good project over 3, you're going to have a lot more visibility than you are going to be posting it to Steam or posting on the App Store or whatever in another super saturated Web 2 market.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because even the App Store, that Web 2 market is like today, I don't know if you guys saw this, but like on Twitter, it's all over the place. The Bored Ape Yacht Club was supposed to be having like a game competition they had to delay it because Apple took down, I guess, the app that they were the mobile app that was gonna be for this game.
Ooh.
So like they just completely stepped in and like paused their whole like competition because of that.
Wow. So was the app like connected with an Ethereum wallet, or like how was, I guess, what was the grounds for them like stepping in?
Well, they're saying they haven't even gotten an explanation yet. Like, let me see the official tweet because it went out. It was saying something about test flight. The test flight app was pulled because of.
Oh, it was a test flight app. I guess that's probably why.
What does that mean?
Test flight is like it's basically like if someone's a dev for like, like with Apple, you have to like register to be a dev to get access to like their toolkit and everything. The flight kit is meant for like basically like beta testing stuff. So like if you want to send it out to like your app that's just like not complete, you want to send it out with test flight. That way people can test it and give feedback. But I don't think it's meant for like a widespread rollout and like promo type.
That's crazy because the Bored Ape Yacht Club took in $100 million when they did the Mutant Ape Yacht Club. So saying, like, I'm reading the announcement from Gargamel, who's like, this is in their Discord. He goes, "Hey, everybody. Unfortunately, the mobile game competition start has been delayed. To put it short, our game got rugged by Apple. We have had the game previously approved for test flight for weeks without issue, and they have provided zero explanation for the cause of the takedown. We are working on a solution and will stay in touch with the community." So that's interesting that they were going to put out a beta app, essentially.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I don't have a... See, I've actually, like... I tested an app for someone once, and it was like a small developer. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was through test flight. So like I actually got to go in, like register my Apple ID with it and be able to access it. But it's like they have to. It's almost like a whitelist type thing, like where you have
That's
to
right.
access.
You're 100% right. Like it has nothing to do. Like you don't launch like a competition on test flight. Like like crazy. I do mobile dev, and like that's ridiculous. And like if the community, well, their community, from my understanding, isn't like the highest like IQ average overall. And I don't mean to slight anybody, but I just hear some of the stuff that they do in cryptocurrency, and like they get trolled all day because like they like call 1-800 numbers, and listen, I'm not here to bash on anyone that's lost cryptocurrency before. Anybody in this space that's been in it has lost it one way or the other. But I hear they like give out their like 12-word seed like on the phone, like to a 1-800 number, like post it in like a chat, like publicly, like the cryptocurrency like 101 never do this. So I'm not surprised that they try to launch something on test flight, but that can't fly. Like that's and you know why they probably did it is because there's probably some monetary aspect to the game that they were unsure if Apple would allow like to go through for sure.
That's just crazy.
Well, I think they're giving away prizes.
I'm surprised they even like put it like publicly that they said it was going to be like a test flight thing, because it's like people that know about that stuff are going to be like, well, why did y'all think that was going to work anyway? Like what?
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's just I wasn't not expecting that, and then that happened. So it's interesting to see because like $100 million is a lot, and I mean they haven't been developing this game probably for that long. But just thinking of our team and like what we're aiming for, with we have a bigger team though I think, but not nearly as much capital. So it'll be interesting ultimately see what happens with this mobile competition. But that's crazy. Yeah.
Did anybody see the final numbers on the auction? Like in terms of like the last I heard it was like 30 million. Like that was like on Saturday or something like that.
Yeah, it was about the same. Coder Dan put it into the Discord. I think there was like spent or like used in the auction. It was like something like close to 4 million ghosts minus the 400,000 of incentives paid out. Volume of over 30 million though.
Nice. Yeah. Like I always like the point that they make that like if Aavegtochi was understood at all or like was on open sea or anything like that and had that kind of volume moving a day, like, we'd probably have like the barbarians at the gate.
Yeah. Well, we need that also because like I think when I'm going to see if I can find the post when Dan threw it in, but during that conversation, like those stats, it was like something like 1,800 people actually took part in the auction. So it's like that surprised me because I figured it would be more, but there's probably a lot of people. Like I know a few people that are in Gotchi Gang who kind of like held off because they didn't have liquidity.
I mean, if I had to guess, the game probably doesn't have more than like 2,500 to 3,500 active users. I know that like someone pulled a number the other day of like 5,000 addresses, but I mean, I'm sure we all have more than one address here in this room. Anybody that plays the game, seriously, so, and that's awesome. I like that. That's one of the things that I love about it, how hard it's hitting right now. And like some of the stuff we were talking about before really got me excited, like with the whole aesthetica and like how, Aavegtochi is going to have an opportunity to like bridge communities and like bring in artists and like, bring in, content creators and kind of vibe and jive with the NFT movement. And I'm kind of curious about that because like it's like a 2D space right now. So like I wonder how that's going to work, right? Because like in my mind I like envision walking down the street and like you're looking at something to your left or to your right, but it's like 2D. So I wonder how they're going to do that. But I will say that they definitely have cool and big plans for all the parcels because we're at 8BitGG probably eventually going to do a partnership parcel, and like there's a lot of excitement around like collaboration to create experiences at parcels and stuff like that. So I really got excited hearing you guys talk about the media aspect of the game, and like when you guys talk about like Gotchi TV or like the Gotchi Media Group. Like I think that's so compelling because it will be up to the community to go out and bring people in when the time is right, and with those constructs in place, like we can definitely like growth hack the game.
And the funny thing is the team at no point has said we're creating a social platform, we're creating a media launch platform. This is all us coming together as a decentralized community being like, this thing is perfect for this and we're going to like build it. So like I think that's the other crazy thing that's about to happen right now is like we have a bunch of people coming in that have capital, we have the people that have the intellect, and we have people that have like the passion and the drive and the dev skills to like create something that's available to us. I think Polygon put out like a little teaser a while ago, and I want to kind of know what this is all about. I'm sure we'll find out. But they put up this thing that said Super Polygon Entertainment System, Aavegtochi. So it was like this little like teaser of like I wonder if Aavegtochi is going to be like the media and social like launch platform for a lot of games and a lot of like dev stuff and media stuff that's going to come to Polygon. I wonder if that's going to be launched off Aavegtochi, like through the realm, certain experiences or certain, let's say a platform just recently came to Polygon from Layer 1 and they want to market their platform, they might want to rent out like some space in Aavegtochi and build a dApp and advertise their thing on there to get more traffic on their thing on Polygon. You know what I mean? I wonder if that's going to become like the hub for these things.
That's a really good point because Aavegtochi users are Polygon users, right? And like I never used Polygon before until Aavegtochi, and that's going to be the case for many, many people.
See, I'm interested in, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet yesterday from Stanny from Aave, the potential Aave, like a decentralized browser, like a Aave browser, and like how cool that would be. And then if we think of the social aspect of the Gotchiverse, like maybe there's a tie-in with Aave since there are so many other tie-ins with Aave that will like, be useful within this new Web3 browser that they're potentially releasing.
I'm going to say right now, and I mean, this is pure speculation. This is not like any kind of financial advice, but I think the ties between Aave and Aavegtochi are a lot closer than we think. I think Aavegtochi is maybe going to be integrated into their ecosystem way more than we think over time. I think that's all I want to say.
I agree. Like there is I think it was Mark Zeller. It was definitely some other like big ETH maxi people, but they put out like a like one of those grids. It's like a meme that you see, but it was specific to like Ethereum and I guess to Aave, and it's like a box of like 9 or something or 14, 16 boxes, and it's all these different avatars, and in the middle, whatever that middle one is, it's like you, not you, and then all these other characters, and it was all these Aave/ETH maxis, and then Jesse was in that meme at the very bottom, like as like one of the, like a big person in this whole like community. So when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, we're tied in much more than a lot of people realize. Like we're about to have a collateral. Like I was telling Frens this today. I'm like, our collateral is about to go onto Aave, right? That collateral is only going to be, it's going to be the smallest market cap of all the collaterals. But if you think about it, when people go into liquidity pools, they want to ape into the pool where they can have the biggest like percentage of the liquidity in the pool because they'll get the most fees. So having such small market cap, I could see us getting a big boost from that, since bigger people would want to like take advantage of that, limited liquidity in the market where they can get higher fees than with other pairs or with other collaterals.
No, Future, can you like help me with like, sorry if I'm a little ignorant because I'm not like a huge DeFi guy, but when we're staking Ghost, we would be able to still like attribute that to like the Aave pool, like in the same way like when you're doing the LP tokens. Is that what's going on? Or like when you use like Dino Swap? Like help me understand that.
Well, from my understanding, what's going to happen is we will be able to stake our Ghost directly to Aave. So we're getting AM, I guess it's on the Polygon layer, so it'll be an AM Ghost token. There has been talk, the team hasn't confirmed it, but they've mentioned it, Coder Dan, the idea that like if you stake your Ghost to Aave, then you'd be able to stake, like if that's the spirit force for your Gotchi, if you put that spirit force, the AM Ghost, into your Gotchi, you'll earn friends off of that. He's like, there's speculation of that. So
that would be super.
I mean, if that happened,
that would be so
yeah,
cool.
man, because I would literally move all my tether into Ghost, because that's going to be the other thing that we're not thinking about. Like all the other, there's a couple of stable coins on Aave on the Polygon layer. There's USDC. I think there's Gemini Dollar. There's DAI. There's USD Tether. Then the rest are like cryptos that do have volatility. So by putting Ghost on as a collateral, you kind of get the best of both worlds, where it is stable because of the bonding curve, but there is still upside to it. And, movements won't be as crazy. So there will be appeal for that. So I wonder, I'm interested to see what the interest payout will be for Ghost on Aave. Because I think right now it's like something between it ranges between like 6 and 15% for the stable coins, and then lower for the non-stable coins. So it'll be cool to see.
And that would depend on like people basically like trying to depending on the trading of Ghost, I guess, and potentially like anybody that wants to borrow Ghost.
Yeah, the utilization rate of Ghost in Aave will really determine that, and then that will. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people, because think about it, like if you could stake Ghost or some other coin into Aave, and then depending on the what's it called, whatever the fee is, the interest rate that you would have to pay, if you could borrow more Ghosts, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of like degens in our community who don't mind, who aren't like me. I'm very terrified of leverage, so I don't borrow against anything. But like I could see the case where people will do that to amplify their friends if they are getting friends from staking AM Ghost, the spirit force.
Yeah, and I could be underestimating the takeoff of Ghost. I mean, I always look at the bonding curve and I say, it's going to soften the volatility and stuff, but that doesn't mean the price can't rise very quickly due to demand. If the demand becomes very large for the Ghost token, and I could see it becoming large because you have this Glimmer or Glamour token that's going to be released to speed up the building of your structures in the realm, and we're going to need liquidity providers to pair most likely different kinds of Alchemica with Ghost to create price stability for these new tokens, right? You're going to have market makers that provide Ghost liquidity, and might have to pair it with Keck, or you might pair it with Aalpha, or you might pair it with some other one of the other resource tokens to get your Glamour tokens. And so you're going to have a demand there, and once people see whatever the APY, whatever the yield is for that, you could have someone that doesn't even play Aavegtochi, go and go to the exchange, go to Aave, get some AM Ghost, and then maybe pair it with one of the Alchemica tokens, and now you're earning this Glamour, and you're just like a Glamour supplier for the market. That could be another role as well. So I could see a lot of demand, in the next couple months at least, as the game starts to get rolled out and the GAX is launched and all that. I could see there being a lot more demand on Aave for the Ghost token because of Aavegtochi. It'll be the only metaverse token on Aave that also has a very small market cap, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of catalysts.
I don't know how to share a
still
tweet.
is just like
Oops, sorry.
just the number of people that hold gotchis. I mean, we're still like what was it last, like 5, maybe almost 6,000 last time they ran the numbers?
Yeah, I think they were saying 7,000, or do you know Future? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. Going off of Aavegtochi stats, I thought it was closer to 4 to 5,000, but I'll check now.
I think that's
Just really
Gotchi
quickly.
holders. I'll look up the holders of actual just Ghost. Just a sec.
I just retweeted the tweet that I was mentioning with Mark Zeller with that grid, and it looks like it's all ETH people. It's like Vitalik,
We'll post it to the
but in the
space.
middle, Charles. Yeah, I don't know how to post it to the
You
space,
just
actually,
hit
but
and then you can share it to this
hit share on the tweet itself or in here.
on the tweet.
Oh, okay, let me see if I can do that.
See, I need to learn how to do that because like that's gonna take these spaces to the next level because we'll be able to share like pieces of content. So that'll be really cool. I gotta learn how to do that.
We're sitting at 20 holders of Ghost, which is the 29th. We've gotten like 100 new. So in 20th it was 6,990, and then if I go to like a month, it's not pulling up. But I mean, yeah, we're sitting at around like 7,000 holders.
So 7,000.
Your holders, and then like what new feature 6 said, like 4,000, around 4,000 actual Gotchi holders.
Yeah, it's 4,050 unique holders. The one thing I will say about the number for Ghost holders, I remember at some point Dan mentioning that like somebody had done, I forgot who it was, but they did an airdrop to like a bunch of wallets of like fractional amounts of Ghost. So because there was like one day where the number of Ghost holders like jumped like significantly, and everybody was like, "Holy crap!" And then it was like, no, it's just one person like did a weird airdrop of Ghost to like a bunch of different wallets.
Yeah, so that 7,000 inflated. I mean, obviously, yeah, some people can have like multiple wallets. I think 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000 holders isn't bad though. Yeah, 4,000 Gotchi holders. Remember, there's been 17,036 portals that have been opened and claimed, with 600 of them being 600 Gotchis being murdered or sacrificed. So we have 16,428 live Gotchis, which is about 4 Gotchis per holder. But we know that there's certain holders that have like Yannick has 1,000. There's several holders that have a few hundred Gotchis each. So that number, it's not a lot of that concentration is just in a few hands. So it is actually distributed pretty evenly.
So I think based on that, a lot of the early gameplay that we're going to see in the realm is probably going to be based off of like the rentals, and the rental market will be like probably a huge part of all this. And so like no wonder we have all these guilds coming in, because they see the value and they see the need for this. They see the need for being able to supply the market with gotchis to have the game going, and have these units like Aavegtochis to be able to harvest Alchemica.
Yeah, having guilds enter this space, like DAOs especially, is powerful because they basically exist to make money, like playing games. So they're not going to jump into projects that they don't think that are going to succeed, because they're looking at it from an economic point of view. So it's a very bullish thing to have all these different gaming guilds come in and be like, no, we're committing capital because we believe in what this is what this project's going to do.
And that's been like hugely reassuring. That's been a hugely reassuring sign for Aavegtochi to see all this large amount of capital coming in from these large DAOs. And it was interesting to talk to the meta guild guys, because I really got to see what some of these guilds are thinking, and they're just thinking of creating a solid community within their DAO or within their guild, because they also understand that that coordination aspect of Aavegtochi. So like even if you want to come in and make a bunch of money, you're still going to have to get really involved with the game. You're still going to have to communicate and coordinate with other guilds. Like I think Meta Guild has been reaching out to all kinds of other guilds in the realm and creating alliances, because they understand that those alliances are going to be so important for their bottom line and their profitability, as long as they can collaborate and keep the peace.
Let me ask everyone, because we're fast approaching our next big event, which is on Tuesday, the Rarity Farming Snapshot. So I've been talking to friends who are in the space, especially the smaller investors, of like my thesis, like going in. But do we think that we're going to see a major dip in the wearables floor after the snapshot for the final round of season 2. I think that we will, but I'm taking it as a buying opportunity because the last time that dip happened, the bounce after was ridiculous, and it took like a month after because we were waiting for Haunt 2 to happen. This time there's not going to be as much downtime because we're moving into the test net and/or actual launch of the Gotchiverse realm. But do we think that there will be a dip in wearables?
I think there might be a dip, but I don't know if it'll be as much as people are thinking it'll be, because I've seen so many people talk about it. It's like I don't know anybody personally that's like letting go of stuff right now. Like they're all trying to acquire more. You know what I mean? Like I guess it just kind of depends on, you know, where the distribution is, like who's holding the most and what they're trying to do with that capital. But I mean, considering with the fact that we know there's like way more gotchis than there are wearables for them, I don't personally see it going too low, but I could definitely see us having a few opportunities here and there depending on, you know, who's got them and what they're trying to do with their capital after the last snapshot.
Does anybody know the total wearable number, like off the top of their head? Probably not, but
I would if I was at my computer. I'm in the wearables tab.
Yeah, I
first,
believe.
But, yeah, it's been a minute.
I think there will be a dip in some of the lower end, you know, like the common and the uncommon, and maybe some of the rare wearables. I've already seen that with some of the agent items, but I think like the higher end items, like I've got a 1337 laptop, and I don't even know what it's going to do in the realm. And so if I'm going to sell it, it's going to be for like a ridiculous price until I figure out exactly what it does. You know what I mean?
I think that
It's interesting.
I think it'll hold steady because I think all these guilds need to dress their gotchis that they're acquiring, even if it's in minimal like gear, because it will be more appealing to, you know, the user that wants to rent the gotchi. Plus it helps with the stats a bit. Even if like you're dripped in commons, you know, it's better than nothing. So like me personally, like I was sweeping the floor on the Anon guild, on the Anon mass last week. And, you know, it has its moments, but there's sharks out there ready to catch a dip on any one of these wearables if it gets too low. I've seen it because the other day, like fireballs were like blinked into the like 150s, and it was like 2 hours later I went to look and it was like back at 250 again, you know, and I was kicking myself in the butt for not buying it. So I just think that there's like crazy demand. And if I think there's 7 slots, there's 17,000 gotchis. So that's demand of 119,000 wearables. And that's why I was asking for the total wearable number, because then we come up with that ratio of like wearables for a fully kitted gotchi. And it's every new player that I've talked to that wants to come in, eventually they're like, I want a wearable. How do I get a wearable? You know, and I think that the only thing that can damper the old school wearables is also like a big flush of the supply if they're really high quality and well-designed wearables and well thought out, which they probably will be. But even then, like I think that the core original wearables, let's say like cutoff being like, you know, pre-realm wearables are always going to have like a special place in the community.
You guys see somebody?
Yeah, it's interesting because
Do you guys see somebody sold a couple grenades today for 560 ghost?
wow, M2 or the M67 grenade?
Yeah, something like that.
The more expensive one? Yeah, that's still high.
Okay, yeah, I think it's
That's
M67.
still high though. I remember that was like a couple months ago. It was like a couple hundred, no problem.
I remember them when they were like for the, which one was it? A tower defense gotcha game where the smaller one was like 20 ghost or something like that, and the more expensive one was like, I think it was like 40 or 50. So to hear those prices are kind of crazy. I will say that I actually think the commons will hold their value more than others because guilds are popping up around those wearables. So you have to figure the people who have joined those guilds, not only are the guild members themselves probably scooping up as many, like I have 12 Anon masks. I've been buying them whenever they get cheap. So I don't plan on selling them off because we're going to use that towards the guild more than likely. So I could see the commons kind of holding ground. I've noticed that the mythicals have actually dropped a decent bit. So I'm kind of like, I'm debating if I should like pull out my state ghost and get like a mythical, like, you know, Royal Road, because this is probably going to be the last chance I'll be able to get a mythical item for under 5,000 ghosts.
How do you guys feel about like the rewards curve, like for the rarity farming? Like, do you think that it'll eventually it feels right now out of reach for new players to even earn anything? I think the cutoff on this last one was 531. So, you know, if you've got a naked gotchi, that's a pretty decent gotchi. But how, I guess I often think about how will this work long term, especially with the kinship, which I guess there's this notion of sacrifice now for Alchemica through channeling. But I wonder if like people are just going to moat themselves so deep that the rarity farming maybe doesn't scale for the user base in the future.
Well, I think with each hunt, we're still going to have, the big thing is, like for the most part, during the auction, all the portals will have a certain floor. I mean, if we're not doing weird degen incentives and stuff like that. So it does fall very much on the VRF role. So there are going to be people, even small players, it's out of reach to go out and buy a 550 Gotchi that might get lucky and buy it, like during one of those auctions, get a single portal and somehow hit the lottery and, pull a diddly poo and get a 579, and they can maybe sell that off and then buy 10 gotchis that are like, of high enough quality to make it into the rarity farming. But also the team has said that like rarity farming might change because of the incentive of the farming. Like they haven't announced exactly how they've talked about it a little, but the idea that maybe it is a different, it serves a different role in the ecosystem once we launch.
Is there a timeline for season 3 of rarity farming?
From what I understand, season 3 would not happen until there's a haunt 3, because for haunt 2, we put a cap on the rewards for season 2 with the idea that some of those rewards would be held over for season 3. So I asked Coder Dan, I want to say a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, in one of the hangouts, if we can do season 3 without a haunt 3, even because we have that excess, supply,
Right.
Whatever they saved. He did not give me like a answer. It's more than likely we're going to have to do a haunt before we can start a season 3, because we're going to have to partially fund it, I guess, through the haunt.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of that too could be adjusted, because it's like, I mean, if we've got more people coming in, then I feel like if we have like, maybe even just a higher cap rather than just like 2 million, maybe we increase it based on like what we're looking at, like as far as the number of users coming in. I could definitely see them adjusting that, either the minimum threshold or the number of gotchis that would qualify, and then of course increase the supply, just that way more people would actually get a reward. But I guess it kind of depends on how that kind of plays into the whole ecosystem at that point, of course.
Yeah, because I could see haunt 3, ideally it's not going to be as large as haunt 2 or even haunt 1 based on demand. If there's demand, then yes, but if not, then something less than 10,000 gotchis would probably be preferred. But then I wonder how much how much rewards will we gain out of that? Because you got to figure a haunt 3 is going to go for less than a haunt 2, which is less than a haunt 1. So if we were to do a haunt 3 right now, I think that those portals, like what were haunt 2 portals going for? It was like 300-400 ghosts, right?
Yeah, around 400.
So
350, 300, around there.
Yeah. So I could see a haunt 3 if it came out like soon. Maybe, it depends if it's another one of these like I was wrong on the auction for the land, because I figured maybe prices would at least meet the previous floor because there was only 7,000 up for auction. But I think the fact that everybody kind of got tapped out on liquidity and we all kind of knew where the floor was kind of suppressed the floor on those land parcels. So I don't know, like I would think that a lower supply going into a haunt 3 of portals would lead to maybe a price uptick. But now I'm not 100% certain based on what happened in this auction.
I think it would be, I agree with a lot of the stuff that we're like thinking about here about Haunt 3, with especially the amount of people. I think the Gotchi renting program has to go online and be live and be like successful, because I feel like that's going to attract a lot more investors and a lot more people with capital into Aavegtochi, because the value proposition of owning an Aavegtochi will be so clear at that point, and there'll be like statistics and some data around that as well. So people will be able to make a lot better decision. And at the end of the day, like with large capital coming in, they will need those data points to justify their investment if they're going to be buying 100 Aavegtochis or 1,000 Aavegtochis. And we just don't have those data points yet, which is like it's beneficial for us right now because we can keep accumulating. But for example, if Gotchi lending becomes like really profitable and there's a sudden supply shock of Aavegtochis that are, we just don't, it's really hard to get an Aavegtochi, then at that point we'll have to look at, all right, like maybe we do need to do Haunt 3, and not only do a Haunt 3, but maybe do like a larger Haunt 3, because we have like now DAOs and guilds that are all interested in copying, 100 to 200 a piece, 100 to 200 portos a piece. And that's going to absorb a lot of the supply as well. So I just don't think we're there yet for that to happen. But I think that's going to be one of the catalysts that drives a lot of demand for owning Aavegtochis.
So in a sense, the Alchemica farming kind of replaces the Rarity farming.
Potentially. It's not written in stone yet, but or it's like maybe the Rarity farming is scaled back, or it's not as frequent, the number of seasons. I'd rather I wish we were doing a season every 2 months, or not every 2 months, but I guess I would take 4 solid seasons, because if we did 4 seasons, I would have returned. I've already returned my full investment in Rarity rewards, but that's because my investment 10x essentially since when I got into Aavegtochi, or 7x at this point. So but the Rarity rewards just for this season is, for me so far, would be 10% of my current holdings after 10xing. So that to me is beautiful. So I want a season every week if I could. But I could see them. I don't know. What's an interesting thing that we haven't really talked to the team about? But I wonder what the marketplace, or how they're going to set up the marketplace for rentals. How will that work in terms of finding, pairing people who are looking to rent with those looking to rent out?
Chain link?
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I've heard them just analogize it, at least from a UI UX or product perspective, something similar to a kind of Uber interface, where obviously there's a user that needs a Gotchi, and then probably, if I would guess, some kind of search functionality, or hey, here are the available Gotchis, and here are their rates, and some kind of filtering for all the Gotchis that are available for rent. And then maybe if they liked one, it would then ping the user that and say, hey, this person's interested. Do you want to enter this agreement? And then it would just keep pinging back and forth, writing to the contract. And then where I don't know how it'll work is revocability, right? If I get pissed off and I just want to pull my Gotchi back, because that could be a bad experience. But then all that's with just ratings. So Gotchis will be rated, and so will Gotchi lenders. They will be rated, and so will Gotchi renters.
Ooh.
They will all be rated.
Interesting.
So it'll be
Oh no, we have a Yelp forming, the Gotchi versus Yelp.
Yeah, after the transaction's over, it's gonna be oh, did you enjoy this Gotchi? Did you enjoy communication with the Gotchi owner? Were they fair? Or do you have any complaints? So that's really cool. I'm really excited about that, because that's crazy to me. Oh yeah, I can invest in a character, and instead of because even in WoW and all these games, obviously there's giant Chinese farms, and people can buy characters and this and that, but there's never this sense of trustlessness. If you ever engaged in anything like that, right? Because it's it's not dependent on a blockchain and a smart contract where there is this revocability and these encumbrances that kind of can be put into the agreement that need to be met. So and it goes back to what we were talking about a little while ago with this is going to be about quality of player that you rent it to, not even quantity, which, because it's you're going to want the best player, and it won't even always be about splits. That'll be a motivator, but it's are you willing to give up more of your pie to a more skilled player? For sure. And their ratings will speak for themselves. I think that they could probably even track hey, how much Alchemica has this player collected all time, and things like that. And you'll be able to be oh, look at this guy, he's a whale, he's just a beast, and if he's got this Gotchi, he does this or that, So really, really interesting. And that's why at Ape, we've been spending a little bit more time. Our website's pretty stinky right now, but it's holding it down while we work on some other things. But I really want to be transparent with the Gotchis that we have for rental, and why did I pick them? Why do the stats matter? How is this going to help you as a player? And kind of have this, real transparency when it comes to the Gotchis that we lend.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the rental feature. I will be honest though, and I'll use the analogy of, or the kind of the through line of thinking of CISA, Gotchi World petting. When it first came out, I'm very interested in the idea, but it's almost like the coronavirus vaccine, where it's I'm going to wait and let everybody else rent out their Gotchis, and kind of, because this is all brand new, right? So you want to make sure that the contract, everything's working so that you don't lose anything. And I have full faith in the team, but it's like getting a COVID shot and being the first person in. I'm going to wait and make sure no one else turns into a zombie before I jump into the rental pool. But I'm very confident the team will do well.
But how would it not be like Axie, which I don't know a lot about, but I met a Gotchi friend last week, and he was telling me that, you know, he's got something in there where he's got somebody from Venezuela who's, you know, playing with, somehow earning, you know, that's the user that's got one of his characters, and that person is netting $10 a day, and the incentive there is that I think it was Venezuela, they have you know, they make $15 a month minimum wage, and so with whatever this person in Venezuela is doing, they're making $5 a day because they've found this market. And it's you know, I thought it was kind of through a smart contract, but that's kind of the to me, that's kind of some of the appeal of it.
Yeah, apparently I don't think Axie is on chain. Like, I don't know that it's through a smart contract, because I know Aavegtochi's talked about this being like all like on chain, and that's what kind of sets it apart. So like the thing I was thinking about is like NFT, like an insurance, flight delay insurance, where it's a smart contract that is like, it's set off by time. So if your flight is late, a notification goes out, and then automatically your flight insurance is paid out to you, versus like having to argue with the insurance provider if like actually the flight was delayed. So I figured there's some time component that could be utilized in the smart contract to revert ownership or to instantly transfer back. But, you know, like mechanics, like how do you stop a, you know, if you can use my Gotchi, and is it being transferred to you? Like, is it in your possession for you to use? Or like, is it some kind of weird, I don't want to say a diamond contract, but a contract where my Gotchi is sitting in, and this person can access the contract and play with it, but can't do anything else? Like, I don't know enough about the technology. Anybody else here that knows about smart contracts and that might want to chime in? But
well, I think that's what they're claiming, is that, you know, and obviously they have like great advisors, and, you know, they have the creator of the diamond contract on their team, and Mudge, and or Mudgeon, I believe is his name. And yeah, my understanding is that, you know, obviously the whole diamond contract standard, the ERC 1155, with like actually like nesting things, you know, in NFTs, and, you know, an NFT can be a parent and have children, and like all this stuff is like under one address. I think that's Aavegtochi's like claim to fame, and like actually putting this like tech to work in prime time with gaming. And I think they're the first to innovate in being able to create a contract with this potential revocability and split kind of built in a gaming scenario, right? Because like a lot of this stuff probably gets worked on outside of gaming. But that's my understanding of the situation. I may be wrong, but, you know, this is me collecting information from the couple places that I've seen stuff like this pop up.
Yeah, with Axie Infinity, I do believe they have their own kind of side chain they've created, but none of their characters or anything, none of their metadata is stored on chain. So they have like an issue with, actually a lot of scholars don't end up getting paid out, or vice versa. They actually have quite a few issues between some of their managers and their scholars. Whereas with Aavegtochi, like No Future was saying, we can create a smart contract that's all on chain, that's managing the assets all on chain. So that's going to be huge for accountability and also security, because you'll be able to track somehow who's the original owner of the Aavegtochi, and you might have some sort of a function to be able to automatically revert ownership to the original owner that's in the contract, right? So no matter what, even if someone like steals it, somehow manages to steal it, you can always just revert everything back to the original owner, and it just be removed
Yeah, I
from
would think
wherever they tried to move
too,
it to.
even if like probably there's a super fallback, which is like there's a like automatic revocation after X blocks. So it's like, hey, you know, you just do the block time, and you do that in like, you know, human time. And then, you know, you say like, whatever, if it's 15 days, and then like, okay, after 15 days, no matter what, like even if imagine if your Gotchi actually got hijacked, no matter what, it's going to come back to the address where it originated from. Stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
And then also, like, the data is not going to be manipulated I mean, people will try to manipulate the data, but it'll be resistant to manipulation. only because all the data is on chain. We'll be able to see the quality of the borrowers, the lenders, all on chain. So it might be as easy as creating like a really nice front end or UI to be able to track that stuff. But all the data will be stored on chain. So like that'll be huge for being able to track who's actually worthy of lending and who's not worthy of lending.
Yep, and just like with other things, we can of course set up I'm sure they already have it, as an option or whatever, but being able to choose, if someone has like a brand new wallet that was created like so many blocks ago or whatever, you can basically filter those people so they can't just create a hot wallet and then just try to grab one again. I'm sure they'll have all that kind of stuff set up in the front end too.
Well, I was also wondering, like, it would be interesting to think about, right? So I have 17 gotchis, 20 parcels. I plan on getting another 3 gotchis, so I have even parcels to gotchi, with the idea of I'm going to find people to rent my gotchi and farm my land. Now, imagine we have a bad actor guild out there that goes and has their own gotchis, but then goes and rents a whole bunch of gotchis like the ones I'm trying to rent for my land. And so if they wanted to, technically, they could have their worker, the one they rented from me, come onto the land and not do anything, but also not protect my land, and then have their other gotchis attack my walls, go through the walls, and then grab up everything out of my reservoir before the actual person I rented it to does anything. It'd be bad in the short term because if we have a Yelp review system, they will get weeded out pretty quickly. But it's interesting that even strategies like that could be effective at the start of the game until the need to evolve away from that kind of behavior.
No, Futuristic, I just want to say that the 8-Bit GG Gamers Guild has extended an olive branch of peace and an alliance after what you just described. Like, I don't want to be on your bad side.
Well, the sad thing is that, like, I'll only be able to, if I rent out all the gotchis, I probably have to keep one as, like, my manager gotchi and have them just jump from parcel to parcel to make sure everything's going.
One thing I really like about the Aavegtochi community, though, is that I haven't never gotten the sense of there being like a competition, like it's kind of like the good guys are the gotchis and the bad guys are the liquidators. And so if you're gonna, it'd be more fun to just be a liquidator than to do this elaborate, seems like a lot of work to do it, what No Future was describing. And I just don't see it happening just based off of how the community interacts with one another. I mean, it kind of seems natural to me that all the guilds would form alliances. I don't see why anybody would, we're going to be the bad boy guild that tries to, ransack everybody else.
I don't know. MSG, they seem very on the war path. Although the Portal Mages, and I tried to incite like a fight between Portal Mages and Los Mustachios after the Guild War, and they were very nice about it. They like completely deflected my attempt to cause insurrection. But we were talking about the idea of like the potential of a liquidator guild. Do we see that happening? Like not a Aavegtochi specific guild, but a guild that comes up that decides that they want to be liquidators and try to like kind of mount an effort together. So,
it's an interesting little global economy where each district is kind of like a nation state, and they find their little, comparative advantage and whatever it is. But I think it just would be more fun if, all the districts are friendly, so that you go over to district whatever for whatever activity. By the way, has anybody thought about doing a casino in the Citadel? I was talking to somebody about setting that up where there'd be like one of the parcels would be a bookie. You go in there, you could play cards, you could place bets on fights in the arena.
We were talking about that a little bit in the Portal Mage hangout. Yeah, we might set up something in the Portal Mage town or something.
But I mean, that would be cool for people that are playing with gotchis, that they make some money during the week and then they go down to the street to their local casino and play some bets on something, that's totally exclusive to the gotchiverse.
We've talked about that because we there's a couple of mini games that had potential, but the team kind of like didn't really fully go with them because they were not they weren't games of skill. They were like gotchi slots, and they're worried about because they're not the team is doxed and it's not really a fully decentralized situation thing. That if you set up like gambling, it might run afoul of laws. But if you do it on your own parcel And,
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why not, especially if it's being run through smart contracts and you could say it is.
Well,
being
especially since
decentralized.
Aavegtochi is a global game, and there will be people playing Aavegtochi that are in jurisdiction where like gambling is not like considered illegal.
I want to set up a basketball court playground in District 23 where gotchis could come and play a basketball mini game. And then you could have, the gotchis could play just for fun, or they could place bets on the game, like White Men Can't Jump. They're going down to the park and they're placing bets, or you could have people on the sidelines watching the game, placing bets. In future, I also want to have a gym in there, so people can come and train and go do it. You said something about that in the Discord earlier today, but I forgot to mention it.
Oh yeah, like the idea of since we're going to be in the arena battling, it might be nice for someone to set up a DAP for sparring. I think with the a lot of what Bearded is doing for Portal Wars, because he's creating a contract. I forgot who he's working with that is creating helping him make a front end for this Portal Wars thing. But like basically the way he set up that smart contract, it could work very well for side bets for either the arena or for if you set up that basketball gym. You should do it with the Chicago
Exactly.
Bulls.
That's the plan.
That guild. Yeah, that would be good.
So all the air gotchis would come and they could play basketball games.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, I feel like we're all like quietly very degenerate in a sense. So like, I remember how hyped we got that one hangout that Coder Dan and Jesse did that live Portal War, and then a whole bunch of people did it like right after. So I could see us all being very much down for the Gotchi Casino.
You could gamble with some of your Aalpha and
Exactly.
Kick.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it's been good. I got to take off here. We'll talk later.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Peace, have a good night.
Yeah,
We're so close.
I mean,
We're so close. Oh my god.
I know, I'm stoked, man. It'll be interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to this white paper that's going to come out on the Realm. It's going to give us all these juicy details to dig into.
What's the ETA on that?
I mean, we don't have an official ETA, but I'm going to say probably this month we're going to see it. I'm hoping.
Yeah, maybe like when they decided like to launch it on Ropsin or Mumbai.
Yeah,
right?
I figured since they're going to be Mumbai. I figured since they're going testnet that they'll probably have to put out that white paper before the testnet. But I guess we'll see. We'll get the full tokenomics of I guess the Alchemica and then like distribution, all that stuff. So it's going to fill a lot of the speculative holes that we've created in the light paper, trying to figure out like what things we will do what, and so it's going to be very exciting to get that information.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing that I'm kind of looking at that Dan had mentioned is the Gotchi lore. Like, I hope we have a bunch of content creators who maybe have some expertise in, like, graphic design and comic books and whatnot. I think that'll be cool to see how that the story develops through like mini games and graphic design and stuff. How people still tell the story of Aavegtochi.
Yeah, that goes back to what we were talking about with all the art stuff. And like one of the things that we want to do and have like a big part of our guild is be content creators that can also connect with other artistic communities. I think there's a lot of crossover and there would be a lot of interest overall in the NFT space, potentially in other communities, just like, Master Yang and I kind of stumbled across Aavegtochi, even though we came from like Ethereum NFTs, if you accept what an NFT is and you understand like the social aspect of an NFT and how it leads to community and collaboration, then you can really appreciate Aavegtochi fairly quickly. So yeah, I think that it's going to be really cool to figure out how to bring those people in and like showing them like, hey, look, like let's put your art up on the side of these 8 parcels that are in a row, let's figure out how to like collaborate to like get your art brand like out in the Gotchi space, which is interesting because like where does that really start to have a material impact? Is it 5,000 people, 10,000 people? I mean, most people that build technology would say that's ridiculous and like you have to have millions of users and this and that, but it really like what I'm starting to realize like more and more, it's like it depends on and in these communities, who is the user, what is the demo, you can create a pretty dope product and a cool club of people with 50 to 100,000 people that are on the same page with things.
Yeah, it's all about that right product market fit, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. And
but
a Gotchi user is a special person. I know that. Like all the ones that I've met are, very interesting in their own ways. Typically, intelligent people understand cryptocurrency, understand the benefits of cryptocurrency, and of savings and of DeFi and all these things. So it's a pretty dope demo.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think honestly that's actually a great note to wrap up on because we're coming up on our 2 hours this evening. But is there anything you guys wanted to maybe talk about or show before we wrap up here today?
I'll always show the Gamers Guild, 8-Bit Gamers Guild. Come on by 8bitgg.com. We're getting really much more formalized this week. There'll be a lot of movement for us in terms of like membership levels, details on the DAO, kind of what our plans, and most importantly the membership levels that kind of speak to what are the benefits of being part of our guild, and what's that going to be. And we have some really cool Easter eggs and surprises. So, come on by the Discord, say what's up. You'll be categorized as a friend for now. And this week, we'll give everybody the opportunity to kind of figure out how they want to contribute and like what part of the guild they want to be.
Make sure
Perfect.
if you're prepared, reach out to Seiza because there's going to be another Guild Wars, the second Guild Wars, I believe on December 19th, which is a Sunday, because he asked me to help MC it. So you might want to check that out and get your guild into it, to represent in this second Guild War.
I'm excited to start participating in more guild stuff, get up on the guild map, like where we're going to be holding it down, and just like get on the wiki as well. Like, it's just been a monster to get organized. And I think this week, I'm finally in a good place where I kind of see things and what we're really trying to accomplish. And, we're really about like content creators and, devs, and there's a place for everybody, but we really want to figure out how to not only monetize Aavegtochi, but create art and create community around art and bring in other artists and other art communities into Aavegtochi, because we really feel that'll be beneficial to the whole ecosystem.
Nice. Yeah, and like for me personally, I got my YouTube channel, Aavegtochi Pacific Chapter. I'm trying to get 100 followers. I actually haven't been shilling as aggressively as I maybe should have been, but I'm trying to get 100 followers before the end of the year. So that would be a cool Christmas present because like I'm an ambassador in the ambassador program. So once you get to 100 followers, I believe you get more XP for your gotchis. So that'd be kind of sweet. And yeah, that's all I got. I'll make sure this space is available for anyone who wants to listen in.
I got Taproot and I will be streaming tomorrow at 11 p.m. Eastern. So if you're around, that's at twitch.tv/goldenroad. Come join the conversation, ask questions in the chat, and we'll just be discussing Aavegtochi and the greater crypto market, some macroeconomics, and probably some development stuff, UI, UX. Really go into whatever topic, and anyone that has any topics that they want to talk about and have us like discuss, just feel free to pop in the chat around that time. I'll be posting that in the main chat when we go live.
Nice. No Future, you got anything else, man?
No, I'll be streaming on Tuesday, Music City Gotchi Gang YouTube, and on Twitter, my Twitter page, the snapshot. I believe, I don't want to say this because they haven't really confirmed it, but I believe the pre-party for the finale will be an XP event. So I'll probably go live at 40 minutes before the snapshot or an hour before the snapshot. So I'll drop a link in if I do. Sweet.
Yeah, well, this was another great chat, and I'm glad we could catch up this weekend and talk about some of the things we did during the auction and some of the things that will be coming out going forward. So, yeah, it was fun hanging out with you guys. And, yeah, everybody take care. I hope the rest of your week goes great.
Yeah, have a good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Thanks for hosting this.
Good night, guys. Thanks again, Hefe, for hosting.
Good night. Thanks, man.
All right, take care. Peace out.